And we are going to welcome my next guest, who is actually one of my trainers. He has a very, very special gift. I want to say he's like part physical trainer, part healer. So he has something very, very special that he does in his gym. So before I pass it over to him, I'm going to show you a quick video just so you can get to know him a little bit better.
Stop blaming age. You're really not that old, alright? So we've all seen the video of that 85-year-old person that's still doing pull-ups, push-ups, and all of these awesome exercises. And the first thing that comes to my mind is, I won't be able to do that when I'm 85, or I'm gonna be dead by then, right? Now, why do we think like that? And I think it's because we already feel that we're older than we actually are right now, which is gonna limit us on how we're gonna feel when we're at 85 years old, right? Now, a lot of people are saying, you're still young, you have no idea what you're talking about. Wait till you're 40 or 60 years old, then you'll know what I'm talking about. Personally, I was 22, I was the fittest of my life, and I felt like I was 60. Every single part of my body was in pain. I was inflamed in virtually all my joints. I had L5-S1 degeneration. I dislocated both my shoulders, woke up with a stiff neck, plantar fasciitis. As soon as I got out of bed, I could literally not walk, and I had to crawl to the bathroom until the pain subsided a little bit. So I know how it feels to be a little bit older than what the body is, and I felt like I was 60. That's just a random number I put there because that's what I thought a 60-year-old was supposed to feel like. But why is that?
All right, guys, so that's, well, here, not that, here is Andy Hsieh. You are the owner, founder, and you consider yourself a movement specialist.
Yes, pretty much.
Movement Reborn Gym.
Yeah.
So before we dive into all the good stuff, I want to make sure people get to know you better. If ever they want to work with you, they know who you are.
Sweet.
So I have some questions. Whatever comes to mind first, just say it out loud.
Okay.
Okay?
Sounds good.
All right, so Andy, how do you describe yourself in one word?
One word? That's a good one. I'd just say I'm a mover.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are you most passionate about?
Honestly, movement. Yeah.
Alright.
So basically, yeah, everything. Like I live by one line, like life is movement and movement is life. Like if we don't move, we're pretty much dead. So we have to find a way to just make sure that we're always moving all the time, whether physically, mentally, or spiritually. Like there's always certain aspects that we need to work on. And the only way to work on it is to move in that specific direction that you want to move to. So yeah, that's how I decided that I wanted to open up a gym, because I just moved to that thought and all of a sudden things just happen. So yeah.
Okay, cool. Last question. If you could tell your younger self anything, what would that be?
Keep doing whatever you were doing, because eventually something is naturally going to happen.
Cool,
Yeah.
I like that. All right. All right, so now we can get to the juicy stuff.
Cool.
The real stuff. So tell us about yourself, your background. What is the evolution of Andy Hsieh?
Okay, so long story short, I'm South African born and raised, Taiwanese by blood, and I was always that odd one out, because in South Africa, very few Asian people were actually there, and I was always the one that was getting picked on. I was always the smallest guy in school. But yeah, that never really fazed me until like I wanted to start dating. And yeah, my first girlfriend was actually 8th in the World Karate Championship, and I was like,
Wow.
I didn't mind that she could kick my butt, but I minded that she was actually stronger than me. I don't know why. So I distinctly remember this event where we had to do, there was like this gym triathlon thing, and they needed a team of 3 to do cycling, swimming, and running. And her time was like a lot better than mine would have been. And I never worked out then, and I was like, this is interesting. So right after that event, I joined the gym. And I asked one of my friends who was already working out to show me around the gym and stuff like that. And I had that natural thing where I wanted to be lean and like Bruce Lee type of thing. Like he has always been my idol since I was a kid. And yeah, so the first time I lifted a 5-kilo weight, I was like, this is so heavy. I'm going to get so big. I won't be able to move like Bruce Lee. And my friend's like, dude, just lift the weight and shut up and carry on going. And within a few months, like the results showed, and I was like, whoa, like I feel so much stronger. And then my mentality started shifting. So what you mentioned, like you were getting sick because a whole bunch of stuff, probably because you weren't taking care of your health. That was the same thing with me. My immune system was very, very low. I was always the sick kid. Like, I was born with, like, my face was half green because lack of oxygen and everything. And that's always been something that I was trying to figure out, and nothing happened until I actually started working out. My posture got better, my back pain decreased. And then, yeah, then I was actually a college dropout because I found the gym earlier, and I was just like, you know, nothing in college was going to teach me how to become a better trainer. And in South Africa, there wasn't actually a specific course for physical training or like Hsieh stuff that they have over here. It was mainly just physical therapy. So I tried to do that, but was terrible at physics and chemistry and things. So I was like, that didn't work out so well. And then found my other passion in computer science, but wasn't smart enough for that. Like, logically, my brain just didn't work that way. And with working out, something just made sense. I didn't know what it was, and I didn't know what was going to happen, but I was like, you know what? This is something that I wanted to do. Yeah, and there was that one moment where I was just working out, and there was just this trainer texting on his BlackBerry, and his client was just doing bicep curls like this and flinging their back, and I was just like, wow, like, that is the quality of training that we have at that time. And I was like, I did not want to be that person. I wanted to give someone a really good quality of service, and that stuck with me ever since. So when I became a trainer, all of a sudden graduated top of my class with everything, and things just made sense without even having to truly work for it, because I was actually passionate about it, and when I learned, it just stuck. Yeah, so that pulled me to the direction of, hey, this is something that I actually want to do for the rest of my life. And then as soon as I graduated the personal training college, they recruited me to work on the cruise ship for 9 months. And yeah, so at that point we were doing seminars like motivational speaking to crowds of like 30 to 50 people every 3 days or 2 or 3 days. So we were just giving seminar after seminar, trying to motivate people to try and move and feel better about themselves. But I realized that no one was actually ready to actually make that change. Most of the times we have the mentality to be like, yes, let's do something. I want to lose weight, I want to do this, but we always are taking the easy way out. So it started shifting my mindset to, how do I actually help people change their mindset about getting, like, switching to, instead of getting results, to getting a lifestyle change and feeling better instead of looking better. And that's the approach that I took to Movement Reborn.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you think that kind of like what I was talking about earlier, it goes back to just people aren't really connected to that final result, like that ultimate feeling that they want?
Not necessarily. Then, yeah, you're actually pretty right. It's like they don't know what it will be like if they had all of those things. But most of the times we think about the final result as in looking good. And I'm like, okay, but there's something deeper than that. It's like, why do you want to look good? What is it that's holding you back from that? And most of the time it's insecurities. It's, you know, like if they have relationship issues or they're struggling to get into a relationship, that is a deeper meaning than simply just want to look good in the mirror. So most of the times we have to think about, what is it truly your goals? And I always dig deeper down in my consultations to ask why. There's normally like more than 5-6 layers you have to break through until you get to the ultimate goal. And some of my clients was like, you know what, my husband cheated on me 5 years ago, and that's why I really wanted to actually start making a change. And I was like, that's a strong why, and that's the thing that you have to hold on to, instead of just looking in the mirror and be like, hey, why am I not seeing these abs? It's not because of that, it's because your why wasn't strong enough. That's not making you want to continue.
I think another thing too, and I meant to say it in my opening spiel, was that I know for me, I was kind of in a beat up phase as well. And I think it's because I'd created goals previously out of fear.
Yes.
So do you think it's the same with your clients? Sometimes they create a goal to lose weight because they're scared of, you know, their health being bad, or they're scared of the way that they look, or maybe not like a fear, just like a lack of something, as opposed to like really just wanting to fulfill something.
Yes, absolutely. It could definitely be that. There's so many aspects within it. And the only way to truly figure out is to keep asking yourself the questions and really soul search of what is going on. And for me, like, the definitive point where I knew that I actually wanted to take the movement perspective instead of the physical training perspective, because I used to want to compete in bodybuilding and, you know, step on stage and just be super shredded and everything. But at that point, I was bulking up. I got up to about 170 pounds, and I'm only 5'5". I'm a short guy, so technically I'm supposed to only be between the 140 range. So I was about 170 pounds, and everything hurt. Like, my joints just did not work. I felt like I was lugging a tub of lard everywhere, pretty much. Although I still had abs, I still had the build, and I was filling out my shirts like crazy, but something just didn't feel right. And I was like, I was 22, and I felt horrible, in the best shape of my life. I'm like, something is not right, so I needed to take a step back. And then all of a sudden, one day, something just switched, and then within 3 months, I lost about 15 pounds, so I dropped to 140 pounds. And I was like, huh, something feels a lot better now. Like, the joint pain stopped, I feel a lot better, and then, yeah, and every injury kind of just was more manageable than it was when I was a lot heavier. And I was like, oh, interesting, this is the way that we should actually be living, like feel better instead of just looking better. And ironically, when I felt better, I looked even better. So at 140 pounds, I felt and looked better than I did when I was 170. So
funny how that works, huh? So you said, and you mentioned it in the video as well, that you were 22 years old and you felt like you were stuck in a 60-year-old body. So explain that. Was that your breakthrough, or your what am I saying, like your push, like, okay, something has to change here?
Yes, yeah, so that was my push into the rehab aspect, because I used to just train my clients as a typical trainer. I just wanted them to lose weight and, lose body fat and eat healthy and things like that, but it never really worked. Like, I could write them a full-on program, I could tell them to work out 3, 4, 5 times a week, but they would never do it. One, because they're mentally unprepared, or two, their why wasn't strong enough. And as just an average trainer, no matter how hard I pushed them, no matter how hard they sweated, they were still really struggling to lose weight. And I realized when I was training them, something was always hurting. They always had some sort of back injuries or knee injuries or neck pain or shoulder pain. And as a normal trainer, we basically just have to bypass all of that. Be like, oh yeah, no, just work in this angle instead of this angle, or do this exercise instead of that. So we're just giving variations instead of actually real fixes and corrections. So I was researching so much, because not only just to figure my own body, because I was in pain all the time, but to help my clients actually feel better and moving better. And once I got deeper into the corrective exercise realm, and I stumbled across neurokinetic therapy, where I could truly pinpoint which muscles should be working and which muscles shouldn't, or which muscles are overworking, which muscles are underworking, and how do I release the overworking muscle while strengthening the underworking muscle to rebalance the body so that it can actually move pain-free. Then all of a sudden, my entire clientele switched to not just wanting to lose weight, but most of their goals is just to feel better about themselves, to look good in the mirror, but actually to feel better when they're moving and just doing everyday things, because everybody is hurting from some sort of pain. I know I have virtually 99% of people have some sort of injuries that they kind of just be like, oh yeah, no, I can work through it or push through the pain. And that is the worst thing that you can actually do, is actually how do you work with it in order for you to just not just work with it, but how do you use that pain until it no longer becomes a symptom anymore, because pain is a symptom of something else that's going on, and basically you just have to keep unraveling the symptoms until you find the true cause.
Holding you back from physically growing.
Yes, whether physically or mentally, it's all the thing. Like mental pain and physical pain is or a deeper symptom of something else that's actually going on, and we have to find that something else. And yeah.
Did you have any ailments and
Yeah.
injuries?
So basically, I have Osgood chateliers in both of my knees since I was a kid. I have L5-S1 disc degeneration, sprained multiple ankles, like both ankles multiple times, dislocated both my shoulders at the same time. Chronic neck injuries, back pain. Like, that's been me since I was like 8, 9 years old, when I was doing martial arts and everything.
Okay.
But yeah, I've been dealing with that my entire life. And to a certain extent, like, I still have pain now. I'm not saying that, I've fixed everything, and I don't believe that pain can completely disappear, which is why I'm more of a pain management specialist than completely taking away pain, because I don't believe in that, because pain is supposed to be there. It's just your body telling you, or your mind telling you that, hey, something is off. We need to do something else to manage it, to make it better, but it will come back in another way. So let's say I fix your knee injuries, but if you're really pushing hard, maybe your knee will be fine 10 years later, but then you'll have a little bit of issues with the hip. I'm like, okay, so now we fix the knee, let's go to the hip, let's go to the shoulder. Things naturally just jump because the body never stays exactly the same and it cannot be perfect, right? So we just manage the symptoms as we go until we find the root cause of everything and just keep working with it. Yeah.
Okay, so talk about NKT, neurokinetic therapy. Explain to everyone what exactly that is.
So neurokinetic therapy, I call it a really good diagnostic tool, like a muscle testing sequence. So let's say you have some shoulder injury. I want to test which muscles in the shoulder is working and which muscles is not. And it's a very, very simple muscle test. Like, for example, I'm just going to take your arm, I'm going to push forward, and you push straight up into my hand, and there we go. So if the muscle responds, it pushes up into my hand, and I can feel it. So push again. There we go. Good. Muscle is working. And if I wanted to shut down, I can. So a healthy muscle should be able to work, and it should be able to shut down at the same time. And if it doesn't shut down, that's normally when the issues happen. So if you're pushing up, push. Good. So it's working. If I shut it down, push again.
Okay, can you
it's really, really quick.
put it back on again?
So if you just give it a couple seconds, push again.
Oh, okay.
And push. Yeah, that's just me shutting it down. It's only a temporary thing. It's not like it will never work again. It's literally like within 3 or 5 seconds. And then when you give it a rest, like basically muscles shorten, right? So what I did shutting it down was just shorten the muscle temporarily. And then when it bounces back, it will work again. So that was a muscle testing sequence. And I always need the muscle to be able to shut down, but I also need it to be able to turn on. But most of the times, like let's say you have back issues, and 99% of the time it's due to inactive core and inactive glute. So if the butt doesn't work and I test the muscle, you've had that.
Every single time I go and see him, we have to refire my glutes.
Yes.
Just explains why I have no bum.
Yeah, so basically we just find a relationship of what muscle is working and what muscle isn't. So if a glute muscle isn't working, there's 2,500 of muscles around the glute that might be supporting it. But if I fire it up and it's super weak, just like the shoulder, if I tap it and it's weak, I'll be like, that drives my curiosity to find out what is actually shutting that muscle down. And if I touch something else, like your TFL or like your lower back that's affecting it, then the glute will turn on and be like, okay, there's a relationship between the glute and the lower back. And once it turns on, then I'll be, okay, then we just find out which one is tighter, which one is looser, which one is overworking, which one is underworking. And basically we need to release the overworking muscle and refire the underworking muscle in order for the whole body to work as a system again.
Yeah.
So that's what's really, really different with neurokinetic therapy is that we actually have a strengthening side to it instead of just releasing everything that's tight. So if you go to a typical massage or something, they're like, oh yeah, you have really tight, like we come in with back pain and like, can you work on my back? That's normally not the place that you should be working on. Like your back muscles are really tightening up simply because it's trying to support your body and your body is trying to find safety, right? So like if I'm about to punch you, what do you naturally do? You brace, you tighten up because your body's trying to protect it.
Yeah.
So if you want a better posture, you don't just release everything that's tight, you have to fire up everything that's loose as well. So right now, if I'm sitting in this position, you don't just release all the tight muscles in here, but you have to activate and strengthen all the looser muscles so that the whole body can actually sit in a better position. So that's essentially what neurokinetic therapy does, is we find the missing link of what muscle isn't working, we make sure that it starts working, and then we release the muscles that are overworking in order for it to rebalance itself.
Yeah, and seriously, like, that makes such a huge difference. I'm going to use lunges, for example. I would always do lunges. Well, for a start, my form was off. And you also discovered my glutes weren't firing. So the difference it made when he like messed with my leg a little bit or my ankles, whatever the heck was going on, and then we went back and did the lunges, like I could actually feel my butt burning.
Yep.
I was like, oh, okay, there it is. Like I used to feel it so, like I hated doing them because it was so heavy in my,
Quads.
What are these? Yep, quads. And I would just hate doing them because it was, I could do like 3 of them. I'm like, oh, this burns so bad. Huge difference. So let's talk about Movement Reborn. So you had this experience with being a physical trainer, and then you realize, you know, I'm not really healing myself. You turn to NKT, and then Movement Reborn is born, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
It was very, very, something like that. So Movement Reborn started when I was working in corporate buildings. So I don't know if I can say the names, but 24 and Equinox were the two main gyms that I was working at. And so they helped me progress so much. Like, I thank them for everything that they did. And basically, they were just stepping stones for me to figure out what I truly wanted to do. Like, I knew it was something in the training realm, but I knew that there was just something more, you know, than just simple workouts. It's movement-based stuff that really makes a change on how you feel. And the goal of Movement Reborn is to be able to create a community where people actually want to go to the gym instead of be like, oh man, it's time to go to the gym again. I hate it. I'm so lazy right now.
Oh, my back hurts.
Yes, exactly. My back hurts. I don't want to move because I'm hurting. But that's the thing, is like, you're hurting because you're not moving, and the less you move, the more you're going to hurt. So the more you move, the less you're going to hurt. And that's the philosophy behind Movement Reborn, is we just want you to move in the right way, so that your body will naturally keep feeling better the more that you move.
So ultimately,
Yeah.
what you want for your clients is for them to feel good.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you feel good, the looking good part will naturally start happening. And it's the part where you have to give people a community, because if people don't feel like they belong to something, they'll naturally back away. Like, the first feeling when you step into a big corporate gym is, ooh, who's judging me? Or when you're trying to work out, it's like, oh, is this person looking at me? Or why are they doing this? And you're very insecure with your surroundings. And most of my clients are super uncomfortable with that setting and feeling judged. And there's just so much excess noise around, and nobody's supporting them. You know, hardly any people actually come up and be like, hey, like, I see what you're doing over here. Would you like a little bit of help with certain things? That doesn't happen inside corporate settings. So for me, I wanted to create a community where people actually feel safe and welcomed, and everybody wants to help each other out.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's why I designed my group classes to be semi-private. So it's only up to 4 people, where everybody in the group has very similar goals, but everybody has their own individual routine. So it's not like a simple group class that you just jump in with 50 people and everybody does the exact same thing, but you don't have a coach that's telling you exactly what you need to do or how to do the movements correctly so that you don't get injured and you actually feel and get the benefits of the workout. Just like you said with the lunge, we have to make sure that the glute, hamstrings, quads, core are all activating at the same time, instead of just feeling your knees when you do a lunge, which is 90% of people. When they do a lunge, they only feel the front of their leg, and they hate the exercise, like you said, simply because they're not feeling the right movements. And when it starts hurting, people are like, oh no, I'm just going to do another exercise instead. But I'm like, no, it's not a bad exercise, it's just you don't know how to do it.
Doing it wrong.
I like to teach them how to do it really correctly. And if it doesn't work, then I use NKT to figure out what muscles are not working, and I reactivate it, then go back into a lunge and be like, oh, well, there it is, now it works. So that's what I do in Movement Reborn, is we jump between semi-private classes, and so I structured it in a way that if you sign up for the class, you still get 3 personal training sessions with me, so that I can actually train you and do the NKT and everything that I need to customize your own individual program before you go into the class. So I know exactly what stuff you need in the class, and it's not just shotgunning, oh no, you can't do that exercise, do this one instead. I'm like, no, you have this to do, and this is going to be your warm-up. So it's very, very individualized. And that's the semi-private training side. And virtually everybody in the group knows each other, and they're happy to be around each other. That's like the ideal goal for me, is to have all full classes where everybody is just super welcome, and they all help each other with their warm-ups. And they actually, I want to make them little trainers as they go, because each person will be training the other people. If I'm not able, if I'm really paying attention to one that really needs it, the other 3 can kind of work it without each other and train themselves, sort of thing.
Oh, I love
and that's
that.
the community that I want. So that's the trainings group class side, and then the one-on-one is basically just me training my clients and like really focusing on exactly what needs to be worked on. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So if people want to get in touch with you or want to learn more about your services, how can they do that? What's the best way to reach you?
Just hit my email, is andy@movementreborn.com, or visit my website, movementreborn.com. movementreborn.com, and you can just hit like the sign up link and book an assessment, and I can reach out to them. Yeah.
Nice. And I highly recommend following him on Facebook and
Yes.
Instagram. He's always posting really good informational videos. I love watching them. Sometimes it's like a particular workout routine. Sometimes, like the video that we saw earlier with, age really shouldn't stop us from being able to move fluidly? Because you have a goal similar to mine. You
Yes.
want to live to be 125.
Yep, absolutely.
I want to live to be 100.
Oh, nice.
Older than 100, at least 100. So
Yep.
nice. All right. So yeah, Andy Hsieh at Movement Reborn. Thank you so much for being here
Thank you.
today.